about prom today. I am so excited because y'all know I like my bling and I like prom and I like those fussy little bits that go with prom. So buckle in, grab yourself a beverage, whatever that is, depending on your time zone. Leanne's having tea. But all the housekeeping stuff. If you're on your phone, turn it sideways, you get a bigger picture. If you don't like the comments, swipe them out of the way. If you're watching us on YouTube but commenting on Facebook, yay for you for being able to multitask. That is above my pay grade today. But hopefully in my wheelhouse, not above my pay grade, are some cool ideas for you as we talk about Prom Trends 2025. So I'm going to grab a couple things as we get going. Probably the key takeaway for prom this year, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say all the time, it's about unique and about personalization. This is really the first time that these youngsters get the opportunity to pick something that might really display their personality in a way beyond just their clothing, right? I mean, we all have a style that we like to dress in, or a favorite color, or an accessory that's ours. But this is that time when they can make a statement with their accessory or their color choice or their fashion. And I think it should be a time where it's fun. So if you subscribe to our weekly newsletter, raise your hand. Good, I see quite a few. I'm just kidding. It's Funny Wednesday as well as live. If you don't, two questions. One is why? Actually, one question. And two, do you wanna? You should. Just go to the website. At the bottom, you can subscribe to the newsletter. Every week you get a video that details how to create some amazing thing with floral that Leanne has done. You'll get our Tulip Tuesday tip, say that 3 times fast. And this week, if you had been a subscriber, you would have gotten 2 prom-related videos. The first one was about Leanne's great tip for, what was Monday, Leanne?
Monday was the pocket square.
That's
my
right.
favorite.
I had them backwards. I was thinking that was Tuesday, so I'm glad I asked you. So she shows how to do one of the very on-trend styles for, prom florals and also weddings. So don't just pigeonhole it for prom. And then Tuesday, with the timely tips for the tulip bunch, there is something about preparing for prom. Getting your orders ready. I'm not going to go into that because you can go watch that. You can watch it on YouTube or Facebook. Well worth it. Well worth it. I'm going to talk briefly on it, but I'm not going to go over it necessarily because it's a lead into what I want to talk about next. While I get this ready, do we have anybody chiming in? Anybody saying hi?
Yeah, lots of people are saying hi. Leanne, are you on Facebook or YouTube? Which one are you focusing on?
I've got both, but which one did you do?
Why don't you go first for...
Okay, this is Facebook. Facebook, we've got Carol Jean, Cynthia, Scott, Joe, Christina, and Tamara. And then over on YouTube, we've got Jan from the UK, Martin, who used to join us all the time, but he moved to Rome, and the time difference is such that he's with us live today. So hello, Martin, in the middle of the night. Glad to have you here.
Wowza, yes.
Then Dennis, Suzanne, Lisa, and Cynthia's on both sides, so double dipping, yay. And then Roxy and Grace, and I'm sure I missed some. Then you got Teacher Dove is with us, and Teacher Michael is with us.
Okay, good. Well, I'll take it. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us and talk a little bit about that fancy 4-letter word, prom. So, what I have in front of me is, you're thinking, a hot mess, Michelle. What is that? Well, not really. This is a simple example of how you could put together a bling bar, B-L-I-N-G, bling, as in sparkly bits and shiny bits and feathery bits. This is a buffet of accessories that your prom customers could select from. So with Leanne's Tuesday tip, you saw how she talked about putting everything together in a box. Well, this is something you could easily set up on a tray. Does that show, Ricky, if I step back like that?
Yes.
Okay. That you could easily put together on a serving tray. You could hot glue shot glasses or little wine cups onto a board if your vibe is more rustic. However you want to do it, there's really no wrong way. But if you think about a buffet, like a food buffet, because we always talk about food and flowers here, if you think about it, there's an order to it. The first thing you get is your plate, right? Because you got to have something to put the food on. So give your customers a little tip on how to go through the buffet. So, working with what Leanne had in that tip on Tuesday, select your base. Have a vessel full of assorted vases, or bases rather, that they can choose from. Do they want a slap bracelet? Do they want something that's bright and colorful? Are they a little more classic? Do they want a stretchy pearl band? Are they somebody who likes to make a statement with big jewels and bling? Are they wanting something that's a little more contemporary, that's a rigid cuff that they can slide on? Whatever it is, put your selection of bases for wrist corsages and so forth in some kind of vessel and price each one individually, because this one is going to be more expensive than this one. So give them the opportunity to pick what they want. Oh, and I missed the super shiny ones down here. Rhinestones.
Oh, wow.
I know. We'll talk about rhinestones later.
Fancy.
Fancy. So first step, pick your base. Select your base. Put that in that little clamshell, the order clamshell that you have. And then next up, pick your flowers. Your shop may have a very finite number of products that you offer. They can have spray roses, they can have mini carns, or they can have orchids. Have a little vase there that shows one of each so they know what they can pick from and what their colors are. On your little order form, have those options available that they can just circle what it is. And then lastly, accessorize. That's where the bling bar comes in. This is just that buffet of options. I've got neutrals and naturals back here. I've got blingy bits in the middle section in the front. Have some fun little things that could be boutonnieres as well as an accessory. These could be worked into a lapel card, which we'll talk about later. These could stand on their own. These could also be added into a wrist corsage or something like that as some extra bling. The ribbons are here as well. If you number the bolts of ribbon, then your customer can just write that bolt number on their order form and pick all the little shiny bits that they want. Do they like preserved moss that they want to include? Whatever that is, then all those components can go into that clamshell. They get rung up at the counter, and then you can just set that aside based on the date that prom occurs. Then when you're ready to build those things, all your components are in that little box. This is a great way to do it if you want to do an after hours event. Maybe have a prom party for a high school. If you have a daughter of the appropriate age, or a neighbor, or a niece, or something like that, where you could have them get the word out at school, or reach out to the dance team or the cheer squad and have them be your ambassadors at school, something to get the word out. Social media is great also, but there's nothing like a personal endorsement from somebody saying, hey, you should go to Flowers in the Park on Thursday. They're doing a prom party at night. We can pick out everything we want for our corsages or our hair clips or our purse flowers. What? That's coming too. So, we want to talk a little bit about trends. And the first trend I want to talk about is timeless elegance. Ricky, I think we've got some pictures for that. This is really a return to, I don't want to say the basics, but definitely to the classics.
There.
Awesome. So we are looking at dresses that make a really strong statement, something that's very sophisticated and simple and versatile, meaning it's something they might wear later. Lots of clean lines, minimal embellishments, It really focuses on the fabric and the cut of the dress, just the natural beauty of that. Now, while wrist corsages remain popular, there are lots of other things that are coming into trend. And the first thing I want to talk about is a different floral accessory, a purse bouquet, or a handbag accessory. So Ricky, if you want to flip back up to me.
Well, that's switching, just amazing the crowd you've got. Janet, Kirsty, Greta, Tess, Ellie, Heidi, Rose, Adana, Acacia, who just signed up for flower school either yesterday or today, brand new.
Oh, wow.
Carl, Denise, Brooke, Victoria, Drake, Lori, Fernando from Lisbon, Portugal,
Oh my
Robin
goodness.
and Rick. And then Heidi had an excellent comment. Making order to unleash creativity.
I like that. Heidi, you got your thinking cap on today. I like that, girl. You're always thinking, you know, and that's what I love about the tulips. We're always thinking about great ideas and that we can share them in the tulip bunch. Speaking of, thank you to those of you who posted pictures of your prom. If you paid attention, I snuck a couple in this morning. We'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave that there for now. So, wrist corsages, just they never go out of style. Scale of the corsage, the type of design, and the materials, those change, but wrist corsages are always going to be on point. We've seen a lot of the little bouquets lately, prom bouquets. I would call them a tessie-mussy or a nosegay size. They're not very big in most cases. Those of you in the South are shaking your head going, oh no sister, them's big. Not so much where we are. It just hasn't caught on as much. So what I want to show you are trends I've seen across the country or things that are coming down the pipeline. Now, thinking about that timeless elegance and a sophisticated cut on a dress, if you're going to go that route, you're probably going to carry some kind of little purse, right? Because we all need our chapstick, we need our mints, we need our phone. God forbid we leave without the phone. That's how I pick handbags anymore. Does my phone fit? I have some very cute little ones that my phone does not fit in, and they're going away. But here's just a very simple one. It's a rigid form. It's got a little magnetic clasp. It also has a shoulder strap. I tend to be more of a, Miss Daisy over my wrist. This one is vintage. And we have some other trends coming up that we're going to talk about. This fits in very nicely. But this one just has a magnetic clasp on the top as well. But purse flowers are another option to carrying that little bouquet. This is an accessory, right? They're going to match their shoes or pick a color out of their dress, or if they're working in that sophisticated black, just timeless, tone on tone, or something with a little sparkle. So what I want to talk about is how we can embellish those items. So what I'm going to do is work with, first off, this gold bag here. And I'm just going to snap this open and get a feel for the amount of ribbon that I want. Now, 101 ways you can do this. You can attach just a little glue dash on the inside of the purse with another glue dash that overlaps so that you end up with a very clean line on the ribbon, which is what our floral will be built on. You could also make it a little showier and tie a bow. So that's where I'm gonna go, because I'm super quiet and understated. So I'm thinking a big showy bow is the way to go. So I'm gonna peel off, let's say 1.5 yards to 2 yards. Now this is a double face satin, because it happened to be the color that I wanted today. If you had a grosgrain ribbon, looks like gross grain if you see it written, it's got some texture to it. It's a little easier to tie for people and gives a nice contrast to something shiny like this. So I want to make sure my ends are tidy and finished off. So give those a nice cut.
While you do that, Rachel is with us, and she just achieved her CFD through Floral Design Institute.
Fantastic, Rachel.
And Andrea is here from Florida, and their prom is this Saturday.
Ooh, all right. Well, take some notes. Might be a little late for you, but maybe some things for next year. So what I'm doing right here is just getting a feel for where I want that embellishment to be. So I'm looking at how it fits around the purse, and I want the embellishment to go right there. Slide that over just a hair. All right, so that tells me the place I'm going to start attaching. Now, with the double face satin, you can get some bleed through on the glue. So I am going to use a salal leaf to secure that in. And I will tell you another little trick that you can do just as well. So this is a salal leaf. And if I were using the Oasis floral adhesive, I could put one on each side of that. The other option I could do is just use a glue dash, which I know I have. Grab a pair of those.
Michelle, while you're doing that, I wanted to mention that a lot of people love your idea of having a after-hours party get-together.
Yeah.
I think like that interaction is really popular amongst, people, corporate or just social activities these days.
Yeah.
And then secondly, of course, we have a great quote or a comment from Rick
Of course we do.
that I wanted to share with you. Since
Sure.
you're up there and you can't read. Down here is, to quote Steel Magnolias, the only thing that separates us from the animals is our ability to accessorize. So I thought you'd like that.
I like that a lot. All right, I'm going to grab this little stand. Ricky, get that up a little higher. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So what I did to avoid any glue bleed through is I just used a couple glue dashes and a salal leaf. That just gives me a nice base that I can attach my materials to. Now, the other fun thing is, like I said, go big or go home, right? So in addition to how I attach this to the purse, I'm going to add a little bow into this as well. Now, ribbon is on trend. It has been for a while. And the go big or go home, like we just talked about. Might as well make the accessorizing stand out. Pardon me while I dig for the right size wire, because I didn't bring one. There we go. That'll work. Do we have any first timers with us today? I meant to ask that a couple minutes ago. If you are joining us, whoops, that was a little aggressive, wasn't it, Michelle? If you are joining us for the first time today, be sure to chime in and say, hi, this is my first time. And the Tulip Bunch will make you welcome. They're a very friendly crowd, I must say. All right, let's try that, not so aggressively. Those of you that watched the Halloween episode where I had the knife are laughing right now, thinking, oh, no anger issues, look at that. All right, so I have a bow, and I'm going to use a glue dash again to add that in. I could absolutely use the Oasis floral adhesive, and in most cases, that is what I would work with, but because I don't want to wait and sit and let you watch glue dry, literally, I'm going to use the glue dash. That just gives me a little faster adhesion. A little less messy. And then I will dovetail the ends of these so they're nice and tidy and they match what I already have. Now, you could do this with a complementing ribbon if you wanted. You could do it with a combination of ribbons if you wanted. I just really thought I'm going to go bold and crazy at this point because why not? Because we can, right? All right, so materials-wise, I have a couple Gerbera daisies, mini gerbs, that are pretty close to the color of that ribbon itself. And I have some spray roses here, some lavender spray roses. Now I'm going to work with my Oasis floral adhesive. And this is going to be, I'm gonna call this the Easter egg accessory. I'm working with really bright colors. So I have this fuchsia ribbon, I have the bright green trick dianthus. The lavender roses aren't super bright, but it's just helping me with that color palette. And I don't know if you guys can see this as well on camera as it looks in real life. This is mimosa. These are like the cutest little fresh pom-poms on a stick you'll ever see. And when they are fresh and full and fluffy, they're delightful. But as they dry, they're also adorable too. And before they bloom, they're also adorable. They look like the tiniest little cressbedia you have ever seen. And they add just a playful or whimsical nature to something. We don't get them year round, so I think it's kind of fun at that point. So I'm going to work with a little bit of the green trick to give me a little bit of a base in here. The trick is really easy to glue other materials into, and I know that was just atrocious grammar, but we're gonna run with it.
So you have a first timer.
Fabulous.
Jessica has been in the industry for 10 years now, but she just bought a shop.
Oh my
and she's with
goodness.
us first time live. So congratulations, Jessica.
Well, welcome, Jessica. I'm glad you're here with us today, and congratulations on the shop. That's something. Give yourself a pat on the back for that, for sure.
And Jessica, tell us where you're located.
Yes, that would be good to know. We always like to know where you are. All right, so I'm putting just a little bit of glue on these little bits, and I'm just going to tuck them in to give me a little more structure, a little something extra to glue, for the glue to bite on, I guess I would say, adhere to. Now, this is wet floral adhesive, so it's not going to cure up perfectly during the time I'm going through this. So we'll have to go to Michelle's fantasy land a little bit and know that I am absolutely rushing this, and it is not because I don't know better, it's because I want to make sure we can get to everything we want to get to. So I want to add a couple of these little darling little Gerbera daisies in, and I'm going to tuck them down in fairly tightly. In fact, I'm going to cut their stem off completely and let the glue sit up on that. So I heard Leanne say earlier that somebody's prom was coming up this weekend. Are the majority of the proms coming now, or are they closer to May? I know mine was closer to graduation time, to May, late April, early May, it seems like. So type in there when the proms are in your area, and just curious as to when they are, because you know it was a long time ago I went to prom. Things might have changed. They might have changed. Go figure. I don't know why. Why? No change. Change is bad. All right. So I'm tucking these in.
Judy wants to know how far in advance you could make this.
Great question, Judy. So a lot of it's going to depend on the types of flowers you select and whether you have refrigeration or not. If you are not blessed with a flower cooler that's going to shorten the window of time you have to assemble the wearables. If you have refrigeration, goodness, if you have a Saturday prom, Wednesday in most cases, especially if you're working with spray roses or miniatures, which are very, very sturdy. You can get a lot of life out of those for sure. All right, let's tuck a little bud into this. And
So Dennis is calling you out on using ribbon scissors to cut your flowers.
These are not Dennis.
I knew.
They're different.
Both yellow.
They're both yellow. These are a serrated, more of a utility scissor for cutting things, and then these are ribbon shears. Yes. But you pay attention because you know in class I harp on it. I'm like, no. So yes, they do look similar, but they aren't identical.
Then he wanted to know, do you always call it mimosa or do you sometimes call it acacia?
6 of one, half dozen of another. I tend to use the term mimosa when it's in bloom. When it's just foliage, because we get acacia foliage, that's usually when I call it acacia. It's kind of that Fatsia, Aurelia discussion that people have. I think a lot of it is regional, and I think a lot of it is just personal preference. But I tend to call it mimosa when it's blooming, and just acacia when it's not. All right, using my non-ribbon scissors.
So there's a side conversation going on.
Of course there is.
With people that said they never went to prom. And I will out myself. I didn't go to my prom.
Really?
I was the wallflower, nerd queen, and did not prom. And so I'm like, anti-promers unite. So, yeah, Sherry didn't go, Rachel didn't go. So my question is, who else did not go to prom?
Well, there you go, for you non-prom attendees.
So then we all have to make ourselves a corsage and get our own crowns.
Pretty much, I guess. Well, you know, the trend right now is to go in groups. It's not so much a date situation as it was when I was in school. There's a lot more groups of guys and gals go together. I know my cousin, both their son and their daughter did the group prom activity or homecoming activity. So I am going to put in the ones that haven't opened yet rather than the open ones, just because I think they're just kind of fun. A little lighter, a little fun to play with.
I love the movement on those.
I know, they just make me happy. Y'all know I love craspedia, right? That it's like my fave. So these are like little itty bitty craspedia on a stick. What is not to love? What is not to love?
Well, for those that did not go to prom, I did go to prom, but just an idea. For my 40th birthday, I had a prom-themed birthday, and it was so fun. We had like a sequin backdrop. I had a photographer. We took prom pictures. We all wore flowers to wear.
Wow.
And it was a good time.
Excellent. Well, that's always an idea. Yeah, there is no wrong time to wear flowers, people. Let's just go with that.
Or sequins.
Or sequins, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm just going to tuck a few of these in here to get a little movement. And then I'm rushing it. We know I'm rushing it, right? I want to put it on the handbag so you can kind of see what the end result is like, what the point of this all is. Now, there are on Amazon or other local retailers, there are a lot of inexpensive handbags that you could purchase that you could directly affix this to the handbag. They could pick the handbag of their choice. You could create this and you glue a strip right onto the purse and create it right on that. You could also use magnets. I know I grabbed some little magnet strips like this. You can glue them onto the back of the piece that you're creating and then put them on the inside. That way, if it is someone's handbag, you're not damaging that. All right, so got my purse. And what I want to do is place it where I want the flowers. Run that extra bit through like so. And then I'm just going to tie a big bow here. This is when I wish I had that tail, to hold things in place. So I'm just going to do an overhand bow, just like you do with tying your shoe on, basically.
To answer your question that you asked earlier about when the proms are occurring,
yes.
It seems like the span is quite wide from mid-March, April through May, but most, it sounds like more are towards May.
Okay, that hasn't changed a lot then, that's good.
And while you're tying there, Donna, who was a graduate of ours 4 or 5 years ago, was just voted best florist in her area. And she said it was because of the valuable foundation she got from basic and advanced floral design, which built her confidence.
Oh, wonderful.
And here she is doing something she loves.
Well, Donna, yay for you, and congratulations on that award. That is really saying something about your skill and your commitment to education, because we know if we become trained florists, if we become educated in the proper techniques and stay on top of trends like you are today, it just makes us better and it helps our industry as well. So kudos to you. So this is the simplest attachment, is just tying that on. That way when the person is carrying it, you would have the adornment on the purse, and you'd still be able to open it and get it in and get into the purse. You would tie it tightly enough that it wouldn't slide off. Excuse me. And again, you could also add just a little glue dash in there. On something like this, it's not going to be an issue. This isn't leather, it's vegan leather, and it would just help secure that in place as well. Zip tight. If I were doing it on a purse like this, I might just choose to tie it onto the handle itself, or I could open the purse up, run the ribbon down inside, put a little glue dash on the inside, come all the way down around and come back in, and then complete the floral adornment on the front of that. So lots of options depending on the purse that the customer selects, but this is just one idea.
Another thought I just had was like even a clip, you know, like if you were to make a hairpiece, but you could make something that you could clip onto the handle.
Absolutely. Yep, that would work really well too.
Then they could put it in their hair too.
Either way, yeah, well they could. Or a binder clip, you have lots of options. You guys are creative, you know some fancy techniques and ways to do things. So Ricky, if you want to bring up the next little trend, I guess it is, that we're seeing. We're calling it Sparkle and Shine. And it really is about embellishments on the dress itself. So that gives you the focus on the gown in more cases, so the flowers could be simpler. We're seeing a lot of tiny details in that area. Small touches of rhinestones, little accents, and also full glitzy, think Miss America, rhinestone bodices, things like that. Had to get a little sip of water there. Are we up, Ricky, with some pictures?
Yes.
All right. Within that, we're seeing a lot of metallic fabrics. Think lame, think holographic things. Think just sparkle and glitz all the way down the line at that point. And we're seeing a lot of details as well, lots of different details within the designs. And I think I've got some fun pictures for those too, Ricky.
Yes.
While she's pulling those pictures up, a few more people have joined you. You have a very full house. Serenity, Monica, Anna, Sherry, Judy, Lily, Sarah Sue, Sandy, Gio, Mary, Naomi, Lisa, Kim, and Kenny.
Wow, well excellent. I'm glad you are all here with us today. That's great. With that area section on details, it's a lot of textures in the fabrics. We're seeing ruffles and we're seeing lace dresses and also lace with jersey, which think of a very stretchy, heavy t-shirt type material, which don't seem compatible, but you get some class and some comfort at the same time, which I thought was kind of fun. And we're also seeing a lot of chiffon come into play. Lots of strapless designs. They're staying very fashion forward right now. Spaghetti straps kind of fall into that category because there's hardly a strap there. But what I wanted to do was pick something that accentuated some of those details and keyed into the sustainability side of things. A lot of the prom goers right now are very interested in seeing designs that are eco-friendly. So Ricky, whenever you get a second, if you want to pop back to me, that'd be great.
We're back.
All right. So what I wanted to do was a piece that uses dried and preserved materials. So I have just an assortment of things here. And feathers are very popular still, back again, never hurts my feelings. But this tied into the customer's desire for something that was sustainable or eco-friendly, that they could have as a keepsake, that they could wear later. And because the color of the year is mocha mousse, hello, you are not mocha mousse, you are red. Feathers. Picking some of the flowers and feathers in that color helps it be on trend as well. Yes, Leanne?
Greta, and I saved this because I knew where you were going, but earlier she had pointed out that the trend in her area is a naturalistic Viking with lots of beads and feathers, and so I knew you had that coming up.
Yeah.
And I was like, here we go.
All right, well, cool.
So Greta's right with you.
Well, yay, Greta. Where are you located, Greta? I'm curious as to where that's trending because I'm all for feathers with flowers myself. So I have a cuff here. It's a jewelry blank in essence. It's a metal cuff, and I put a strip of U-glue on top of that, and then I have some preserved reindeer moss. If you've seen me do jewelry before, you know I love this. It adds an ethereal quality to things. It's great to glue into, and it also hides your glue. You can add just little touches of it in there for extra texture as well as coverage. So I have that as my base, and I have some feathers here. These are just feather picks. So I am going to go in and just pluck a couple of these out.
Ouch.
Sorry, chicken. Sorry. I think the chicken's already been done. I don't feel too terribly bad about it. And then there are also some peacock feathers here. I might hold on the peacock. I'm not totally convinced yet.
I wanted to bring something up. I wasn't sure if this was popular, but Rachel mentioned that she wanted to do more flower tattoos this year.
Oh, yes.
And I know that, sometimes in fashion floor we do those, but I was curious with the prom crowd if anybody else was seeing a request or who's marketing it so there is a request.
For the floral tattoos?
Yeah, for the tattoos.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Annie. Can you guys type in if you are, one, seeing requests for floral tattoos, and two, are you marketing them? Because we have to create the awareness of our ability to do something. People don't know what we can do until we show and tell, right? And sometimes just telling isn't enough. It's the showing part that really has to happen. So I'm going to do a different feather. Get some of these that have a lovely two-tone center vein. They're a little bit longer. The fly tire in me is having a happy moment here with these. Do a couple more of those. And the nice thing about this is it really becomes a keepsake that they can have after the fact. I'll let my glue dry up a little bit there. Me. So with those feathers, I can tuck them right down into that moss. Because it's preserved, it's very, very sponge-like, and it is just a wonderful base for working with different materials. So I'm going for an asymmetrical design here, and then maybe a little bit of bunny tail, because why wouldn't you? Now, if you had some preserved small craspedia that you had tinted, those would be great because they take color, people. Don't be throwing them out just because they're dry. They take color beautifully. Scabiosa pods would be fantastic as well, and they too could be tinted if you were trying to maybe have a little bit of glitz with your natural. So I'm just tucking a few of these bunny tails in, creating a bit of a focal area. Now this type of design obviously is much more contemporary, and it might be a nice accent to go with one of those very sleek dresses that we talked about at the beginning, maybe a classic black one to do something a little different. It would also be great if somebody was doing more of a boho look, where they had maybe an all lace dress. I think we had a picture of one that was like a cream lace with an overlay on it. That could be quite lovely, very ethereal. And honestly, anything chiffon, because chiffon just has a life of its own. It's very light and airy. It could be lovely as an accessory there. And then give them something to have down the road as well. All right, get this last little one tucked in here. Ooh, get on there. Love those glue ribbons.
So while you're working on that and waiting for glue to dry, Anna, or Anna, I don't know which way she pronounces it, over on YouTube, wanted to know if we had any continuing education classes available.
We sure do, and we have them in this category. We have a class called Flowers to Wear. It's an online course, so you can take it anytime you would like. It is a wonderful course. Some of the things that I've done you might find on there in some form, not necessarily identical. And then we also have a wedding boot camp, which has wearables in it. And gosh, what else am I missing, Leanne? Of course, our basic and advanced programs both have segments on wearables. And we try and stay up on the trends so that we can share those with you folks so that you stay up on the trends as well.
I think you hit them great there, so that's good.
All right, so there's a fun little cuff. See if it'll fit on my big wrist. That's very simple. Best part about these, ladies and gents, you could do these 2 weeks in advance because there's no fresh product. This is dried and preserved and feathers. So could I tuck a fresh flower into that? Absolutely. Do I want to? No, not particularly. Not really, not today, but you certainly could. And you can have those available as a base that flowers could be added in. Absolutely. All right, woo, throwing things around back here, getting crazy. All right, so the last trend I want to talk about, Ricky, you want to go ahead and pull that last set of pictures up for me? I'm going to clean my glue tube off here. Let me know when those are up.
They are up.
Awesome. So this last segment is talking about bold colors and textures, really making a statement. You'll notice that there are some cutouts. There are some bold backs is what they're calling it, with interesting details on the backs of the dresses, and just so many different things that we're seeing in this category. The bold colors, is the rainbow photo there too?
Yes.
Awesome. That picture just makes my heart happy. It is literally the rainbow of colors in dresses. And I think going with something bold like that, it's also good to do bold flower accessories. So what I want to tackle in the last few minutes is just that, a bold flower accessory. So if you want to come back to me, Ricky, we will jump in on that.
Here.
What a rainbow, oh my goodness.
I know, aren't those fun?
That is fabulous.
Super duper fun. So what I want to talk about and what I want to create for you is a lapel card. Now, Leanne did the pocket square the other day. This is a riff on that, and I'm sure you've seen lots of these, and there are as many different ways to do this as there are colors in the rainbow. So I'm just going to show you one way. This is one way I like to do it, and this is really a textural tapestry. So this is for someone who really wants to make a statement, and I'm leaning more towards the guys, although I have seen, and I forgot to give the picture to Ricky, so that's on me, but I've seen some amazing tux suits for gals who don't want to wear dresses. I'm not a dress girl, and I would be all over that. So adorable tuxedos with great oversized lapels that to me just scream to have some fantastic lapel flower on it. Not working with the pocket, I'm literally working with the whole lapel of the jacket. So what I've started with here, and I already have the base done because again, you don't need to watch me with glue drying. This is a cardboard shape, form, whatever you'd like to call it, and I have completely covered it with Dusty Miller. Both the front and the back are enclosed with Dusty Miller, so this is going to dry beautifully. And I've used the Dusty Miller with the backs up, as well as accent leaves with the fronts up. It may not register on camera, but in person there's a difference in texture and color, tone, shade rather, of the gray itself. And literally when I say it's a chunk of cardboard, that's what it is. It's just some packing cardboard. Here's one that I started to work on as a backup also, and I'm just using the Super 77 spray glue, ta-da, which you learn about in the basic class and the advanced class, and I'm using that to affix to the cardboard to keep it in place. Again, this is something that can be done quite a time in advance. You wouldn't have to wait until the day of or the week of to do that. And if it dries out, it's not really a crisis. It just becomes part of the texture and the layers that you have. So what I want to work in is kind of this blue, silver, gray palette. So I have some Eurygium. I've kept some of that reindeer moss out. Let me see what else we have to play with back here. So many more choices. Oh, maybe some of the roses.
A couple of tips that came in from the tulips.
Yes.
Janet said on that last one that you had created with the all dried materials is to go ahead and make those up ahead of time and prominently display them in the store to
Absolutely.
get attention. And then Scott had mentioned when it comes to prepping those orders ahead of time, they actually take a clipping of the ribbon and staple it to the order to make sure they get the exact color and ribbon that they wanted.
Oh,
Because
yes.
blue could be so many different things.
Absolutely. That's a great alternative to labeling the bolts of ribbon with the number instead of saying, oh, I want bolt 47. You could do a little snippet and just have that matching what you have in the back. That's a great way to do it. What I have here is just some lily grass that I have sprayed with some silver paint that isn't quite dry. It's really cold and wet today in Portland, just since we haven't done a weather update yet. And what I'd like to do is add just a little more depth and dimension to this by going to the back of my piece, and I can literally, well, I did before, watch it make a liar out of me. Nope, there we go. I literally made a point on the lily grass, and I've slid it into the back, cut through that Dusty Miller, and then I'm just going to bring it up over the top. So if you look from the side, you see I'm capturing some negative space there, and I'm getting just a really lovely line down the middle. And then what I'll do is take just a little bit of the Oasis Floral Adhesive, and in some of those leaves, that's way more Oasis Floral Adhesive than I need. Use some of that to tuck that piece of lily grass into the front, like so that I get a nice line down the front. Now remember, this is for that bold person. This is not for the person who's in the corner not doing the worm on the dance floor.
The wallflower.
The wallflower, yes, it is not for the wallflower for sure.
Maybe the wallflower wants to be wall art.
There you go. And that's fine too, you know? So I'm going to do the same thing and add a second one in just because I can. Now, I could also just use a little bit of Oasis adhesive on the back here, or put a glue dash. Either one would work fine to secure that. So I'll bring that second one in. And I am going to rest those right there so they stay, because I'm going to use a glue dash this time. That'll give me a little more grip right out of the gate, and we don't, again, have to watch the paint dry. So I'll just tuck that on there. peeled that little piece of plastic off. Why is that the hardest part of using a glue dash? Are you guys with me on that? I love them, but dang if that little piece isn't the
It
most
makes me crazy.
challenging
Even when you
thing.
pay attention, it's
I
in the wrong
know.
spot. Yes.
All right, so I have those loops coming across the front. Woo! Except for that one that I just pulled off because it stuck to my finger. All right, third time's a charm, right? Isn't that how that goes? Okay, stay put, stay there. Now, I can come in with a few of the Orangium. And I'm cutting these off, not with my ribbon shears, right down at the base because I want a really flat surface for these. So this is going to be very, very textural. And I will use the Oasis adhesive on these. So did we have some other folks that chimed in about not going to prom? Were there quite a few that were of the boycotting crowd?
More than one would think. Lisa didn't go to prom either, and now I've lost my list, but I was like, oh, we weren't alone.
No. All right, so I've got those tacked on there with that little bit of Oasis adhesive. And then I'm going to add, I think I'll add a little purple flower and maybe a little. Anybody else have input?
No, but Grace has a very keen sense of listening. She just heard the puppy
She
grunt.
Grunts,
by
yes.
them immediately.
Yeah. Not a sneeze, but a little grunt.
Little grunt, very good. I also took some Israeli ruscus and airbrushed it lightly with a little bit of that same, it's called champagne silver. The actual Design Master silver was way too metallic. This was just a little softer, I don't know. Still had some sparkle, but it wasn't quite as aggressive, I guess I would say, in the sparkle category. So I'm just going to select a few of those leaves to tuck in and give a little more dimension. And I did.
Oh boy.
Another country heard from, Myro. It just adds a little more dimension to it. And I did spray both the front and the back. And I'm actually going to place the leaves in upside down because they do have curve and I want them to curve up. I don't want them to lay flat. I want them to curve up. So I'm going to accent each of those Orangium blossoms with just a tiny bit of, oh, I like that one. He's got a little attitude. How appropriate for me. A leaf with attitude.
So Greta said she can really go crazy with spray paint and glitter if you let her. And then Roxy's decided that LOL, teacher Michelle and Greta in the same room with glittery stuff. Can you imagine? Scary.
Scary. And I know Jim is not with us today, otherwise there would be a cringe emoji right now for sure. All right, and I'm going to take just a little bit of that preserved moss that I love so much, and I'm just tucking little tiny clusters just because I want more texture, because this one really is all about texture. Just tucking those in, deciding where I want that. And then maybe just a little more down at the bottom. Just to pull my eye down here by this Orangium.
So Rick Mondragon went to prom in 1975, and the big flower was the Cattleya, and they sprayed them black.
Ooh. Okay, cool. And at the same time, why would you spray paint a Cattleya orchid? That hurts my heart a little bit.
But Gothic in 75.
But Gothic in
Whoa.
75. I kind of like
Cool,
that.
progressive.
I kind of like that. All right, so I'm trying to decide, y'all, if I should do a little bit more of the green trick or maybe a couple little green Hypericum berries. What do you guys think? I'm kind of leaning towards the green trick. I have a couple variegated pittosporum leaves as well. That little picotee edge with that little bit of contrasting creamy green. Tuck that in there as well.
Grace's prom was canceled during COVID.
Oh,
man.
that's a bummer. Literally.
Yeah. Do over.
Right? Exactly.
Maybe
So
for
Grace,
their.
you gotta do your 40th birthday.
Yeah,
That's
or
right.
I was
There you
thinking
go.
maybe for their like 5-year or 10-year reunion, they could do a prom theme. That would be.
That could be
Hey,
kind
Grace,
of
give
cool.
them that
I
idea.
like that. I like that. All right, I'm going to put one little cluster of the green trick in here.
Yeah, they're voting trick and or both.
And or both. Okay, my kind of people. I'm all for the and or both. So this lapel card really fits into that bold category, but it also fits into kind of that sustainability in the fact that everything that's in here, can't really see it against the light, is going to dry, is going to stay how it is, and the attachment onto the lapel is super simple. Yes, I could use magnets if I wanted. I'm going to go with glue strips. These stick wonderfully. They will last throughout the entire prom. They're going to hold everything in place, and it's going to give a secure hold that they can take on and off a couple of times if they needed to. So I'm going to put those on once the front dries a little bit more, because I don't want to flip them upside down because I was rushing that wet glue. It needs a little bit of time to dry.
Michelle, all the hearts are coming in. Everyone's super enjoying your segment today.
Very good. Well, as I wrap up today's segment, I want to say thank you for joining us. If you want to look at some additional prom ideas, if you go to our YouTube or our Facebook channel and you type in the search bar prom, it's going to bring up an entire list of, gosh, the last, I don't even want to say how many years, lots of choices, lots of techniques, lots of different styles. In Caledonia have a couple direct links they can pop in there for you, but I do encourage you to look at Leanne's pocket square from Monday and also her prepping for prom profitability that came out as our Tulip Tuesday tip. So until the next time we see you, good luck with your prom planning and go do something you love. Bye guys.